it's Tatiana. Welcome to my channel and welcome to this reading. So this is a message that I first got, I think it's like close to 5 months ago now. I've tried to record this reading so many times. It's just so big. Such a big reading, so many different messages, very detailed, very heavy energies too. It's just such a heavy reading. And so it always goes for too long and it's always too much of a mess. So I'm gonna try to make it as short and succinct as I possibly can. But it is quite a specific message, so it may or may not resonate for everybody here. So just take what resonates and leave the rest. And I do trust that if it is a reading for you, when it does find you, it will resonate for you now or in the future. I am seeing a specific group of people who this reading will resonate for. I'm seeing this group of people within the spiritual community who are also practitioners of a healing modality or just something that falls under the umbrella of the wellness industry, and or people who are involved in a community that focuses on a specific modality. So for example, sound healing, meditation, like a sound healing community, a meditation community, that kind of thing. But you don't have to be in those groups. You don't have to identify with one of the people that I just described. This reading may still resonate for you, but just take what resonates and leave the rest. I'm feeling super fluffy, and your reading always affects me in that way, so please just excuse me. It always, it just has a connection to your reading. Before I get started on the main stuff though, there's a message coming through that if you guys have been trying to look for answers and you've been using the same method that you've always relied on, this tried and tested method that has always worked for you in getting answers from spirit, your spirit guides, your angels, your higher selves, whoever you get answers from, what I'm hearing is that the messages can't come through in that way. And there's nothing wrong with the method in itself. It just can't come through in that way. Visually, I'm seeing something different. Visually, I'm seeing that the messages are coming through, but there's just this, like, how I'm seeing it is that there's this blue light between you where the messages can't be perceived or they can't be translated is what I heard. But yeah, the main gist of it is what I'm hearing is like, no, it's just, it can't come through. The messages can't come through in that way. So you guys are being asked to explore a bit outside of your comfort zone and to find a method that's a little bit more on the creative side. Yeah. It's like you guys are being called to tap into your creativity. Because what I'm seeing is, of course, it's not the same method that works for everyone, but the method that seems to work for you is, I'm seeing that it's more on the creative side. And I'm seeing that for most of you, it's something that you've never tried before, ever. Like ever. It's well outside of your comfort zone. It's well outside of your perception or your awareness. It's something that you've never considered before. I'm hearing that it's too frivolous and lacks seriousness. So I don't know if some of you have considered this method in that way. I'm seeing that some of you have tried this method before, whatever this method is for you. I'm seeing that you have tried it before, like once a long time ago, and it didn't do anything for you, probably because it lacks seriousness and it was just, yeah. So yeah, but the message coming through is just to give it another try. Be more in tune with your creative side, because this method is going to give you a lot more depth to your answers, and it's going to give you just a different side to the answers. And it's going to give you the answers that actually answer your questions. It's going to give you the answers that you actually want, not just wishy-washy answers that don't really answer your questions, or, that don't answer your question at all. Yeah, and I'm seeing that it's going to give you a lot more clarity. It's gonna make you, it's gonna help you see things just in a different light. It's gonna add a different dimension to your understanding. But so that was the first message, right? Going into your reading, there are other messages interwoven, but I'm just gonna go straight in. I can see that you guys have been going through this period of very big, very heavy and deep and intense transformation and change. I'm seeing it as a big tower moment, except it's a lot bigger than just a tower moment. It feels like every single structure within you, it's like all the towers within you have collapsed. And not just that, but all the foundations and all the roots that you've been built on has been pulled out and been pulled apart. So it's like, it's literally, I'm seeing you as just all dust and debris, and it's like pitch black. It's just desert land now. There's nothing there. It's like you guys have been emptied, not just of the good, but also the bad. Or like not just the bad, but also the good. And I'm seeing that there's a big death and rebirth, like a huge death and rebirth, but I'm actually hearing multiple deaths. So it's not just a death of your identities, but also a death of your lifestyle, a death of your old dreams, a death of old versions of you, a death of old relationships that are no longer aligned, old associations, the communities that you were involved with, a death of who you thought you were and who you thought you wanted to be, all that kind of stuff. It's just like a death of a huge chunk of you. And I'm seeing that the death is so big, like all this, I mean, all your foundations and all your roots and every single structure is being pulled out and pulled apart, and you're left with nothing. So it's like, it's such a big change that I'm seeing that between death and rebirth, there's going to be an extended period of rest. There's going to be an extended period of incubation, basically, where you are being asked to rest. Sorry, you're being asked to rest, and you're also being asked to not to rush it, not to rush the rebirth, but also to connect to your inner essence, to connect to the divine within you, to remember the divine within you, and to remember and honor your connection to all things, your oneness to all things. It's like to really connect to your formlessness and just concentrate on that connection with the divine and just bring it in, you know, connect to the divine within you, bring it in, connect to your essence. That's what I'm seeing. But you are asked really, really not to rush the rebirth. The death is so big, this change is going to be so big that you will need every like extra rest that you can get, because I can see that the rebirth is going to be even bigger, and it's going to take, I don't want to say effort necessarily, but it's going to take a lot longer because you are planting roots and foundations. And I can see that as soon as it starts, it's going to be like go, 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 go. So take every opportunity to rest. You'll know when it's time to rebirth, but do not rush it. Just don't rush it. Just begin flow is what I'm hearing. So back to the period of transformation. I'm hearing that it's a marathon. In fact, I'm hearing that it's a triathlon. I'm seeing that a lot of you guys have gone through these periods of change before, and this just feels like it's going on for a lot longer, and it's a lot more challenging, a lot more complex than anything you've ever experienced. And so it's a lot harder than you expect any period of transformation to be. It's almost like if you resonate with one of those people who have gone through these periods before, it's kind of like you have standards. It's not like standards, but you kind of know what to expect. You have expectations like, oh, I just go in and I go through this, and then, you know, it's hard, but I can manage. But this one feels like infinitely harder. And I kind of get this feeling like some of you feel stuck, or have felt stuck at a certain point. You feel like you've hit maximum, like this is the maximum level that you can take, and you're like, what else is there for me to learn? What else is there for me to surrender? What else is there for me to release? Like, why am I still in this period? That's what I'm getting. But This period feels a lot more complex than that. And I'm getting that message too for you guys, that whatever you're going through, it's not just a period of transformation. It's like, it's a lot bigger than that. It's something that none of us can really truly see for what it is. We can't really perceive it. It's bigger than what we can perceive, and bigger than what we can understand and make sense of it. So it's almost like, what I'm getting is like, release. It's easier if you release all your preconceived notions of whatever you think this is, or of your periods of transformation, like how you expect them to be. If you release all your ideas about what you're going through and what this is, what you expect, it'll be easier for you, because then you'll allow that change to flow more smoothly. But like I said, I'm seeing that it's been a marathon. I'm hearing 3 to 6 months for some of you, so it has been a while. And I'm actually seeing that some of you didn't even know that you were going through this transformation. In fact, most of you didn't know that you were going through this transformation. Some of you actually like started realizing a month or a month and a half in advance, not in advance, a month and a half into this period, you only started realizing then that you were going through a period of transformation. I'm seeing that it could be because you guys like might have experienced this transformation not through like a big one-time event that triggered a tower moment and like your life started collapsing and all that kind of stuff. It's more like some of you might have experienced this change through like little occurrences here and there that don't seem connected to each other, so you couldn't see that they were part of a bigger transformation. Yeah, but I'm hearing it's a marathon. I'm actually hearing that it's a triathlon, so it feels like it's just a lot harder. You've been going through hoops. You just don't just need to sprint. You also need to, do the endurance. You also need to run, do javelin, do like jump rope, and then do all sorts of things, swim, basically everything. Like I said, I can see that you guys have been going through this period of transformation. And what I'm seeing is you guys have been being pulled out by spirit. You're being pulled out of this space that you've outgrown. There's a message coming through that there was something in what you've been doing, what you've been practicing, how you've been practicing it, or the community that you've been involved with that's not aligned with truth. And I can see that it's not aligning with your personal truth, not necessarily that it's not aligned with your personal values. It's more that it's not complementing your personal truth, or not allowing for the expression or the embodiment of your personal inner truth. And I can really see and really feel that there's a personal inner truth that's been wanting to be expressed and embodied. And you guys just have struggled. Like, I can really feel that some of you are really defeated. But I really experience this whenever I approach your reading. I feel like I have to strain my voice a little bit in order to be heard, and I have to be a little bit more pushy. I start talking a lot quicker because it's almost like there's a subconscious belief that I have to fit in all the information in as little time as possible before people can reject me. And then my brain just goes scattered. I can't find the right words to say. I stumble upon my words. I mix up words like I've never done. I'm less articulate when I tap into your energy. And what's coming through is there's a subconscious belief that I'm seeing that you guys have, or maybe some of you have, if this doesn't resonate for everybody. But there's a subconscious belief coming through that your truth doesn't carry weight. Your truth doesn't hold power or authority or legitimacy. It's almost like your truth isn't being seen. It's not being heard. It's not being acknowledged or recognized. It's just it's almost like it's invisible. It kind of has the same energy as walking into a crowded room and you're screaming your truth at the top of your lungs and you're embodying your truth. And it's not that people don't believe you, it's not that people disapprove of you or whatever. It's more that they don't even see you. It's almost like they don't even notice that you just screamed and that you're there. It's, yeah, they're just doing their own thing. It's almost like you're really, really invisible. And that's the feeling that I get, that your truth just, it doesn't have presence. It's kind of invisible. And when you try to express it, people don't take it. They don't see it. They don't hear it. They don't notice it. They don't consider it to be a possible truth. Maybe it gets dismissed. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm seeing that it's also not aligned with a bigger truth. And when I say that, it sounds worse than it actually is. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's been built on lies or falsehoods or inaccuracies. It could, I mean, for some of you guys, I'm hearing that there was something about it that's not quite hitting the mark. But what I'm really seeing is that it could just not, there's just something that's not aligned with truth there. For some of you, it could just be that whatever it is, like this practice or this modality or this organization or community or whoever you were involved with, weren't aligned with the values that it teaches or that they teach or you teach. So for example, if you were part of a community that teaches everyone about oneness and equality and you have to respect all living beings and all living things, and everything is sacred, everyone's bodies and everyone's life is sacred. So you do a lot of mind body work and a lot of inner work, a lot of sacred work. But the person who leads that community is abusing his power and authority for his own sexual gains. He's sleeping with every single person in that community, and that community is really elitist, very restrictive. There's a really strict hierarchy, and they treat the lower people like shit, and they treat people outside of that community like shit, and they're very exclusive. They don't take anybody in, that kind of thing. It's just like something's not quite right about it. Yeah. So I'm seeing that, okay, so whatever this has been for you, if it's a community, a practice, a modality, an organization, your workplace, whatever that has been for you, I'm seeing that it's a space in general. Maybe it's also the lifestyle. I'm not sure, but whatever that space has been for you, I'm seeing that it's a space that has given you a lot of opportunities for growth and development in the past. And I'm seeing that some of you guys actually think that this space has allowed you to be the person that you are. It's shaped you to become the person that you are. It's allowed you to have this lifestyle and this community of people, to have like-minded friends and to have better work-life balance. So it's like elevated your life and given magic into your life, something like that. But what I'm really seeing is I think some of you guys give it too much credit for your own growth and development and achievements that you achieved on your own accord, right? But also, I'm really seeing that you guys have really outgrown that space. Yes, it's a space that has opened your world up perhaps and given you a lot of opportunities, but it's starting to be really limiting and restrictive. And I'm seeing that if you stayed, which I don't actually think it's, I don't think, yeah, I mean, I don't think you guys would, since you guys are really being pulled out of that space by spirit and by everything that's occurring with life, the natural order of life perhaps. But yeah, if you guys had actually stayed within that space, it would have really limited and restricted not only the growth and development of your most unique gifts and abilities that are just unique to you and nobody else. And they're the kind of things that you can't learn from other people necessarily. You can't learn within a community. You can't learn from sacred texts. It's more like you learn it from your own experience. It comes out from deep within you. It's more like experience and a divine plan, you know, divine timing, divine synchronicities, life's occurrences that shape you. And then all these unique gifts and abilities come out. It's more that kind of stuff. I'm seeing that if you had stayed, I mean, if you do stay in that space, it's gonna limit your own unique growth and abilities. No, sorry, your own the development and growth of your own unique gifts and abilities, but also the development and growth of your abilities outside of that space, right? So outside of that body of knowledge. But also, I'm kind of seeing you guys as like being like completely lifeless, and within these like really structured walls, it's very, yeah, how do I say it? It just looks really restrictive. It's so dark. Light's not coming in. I'm hearing the truth's not coming in. It's not open, as in it's not open-minded. So there's no interaction of information or something like that. It's just very restrictive. And it's almost like the viewpoint there is starting to be really small and very close-minded and very restrictive. And it's kind of like that. It's kind of like, you know, when you just, for example, you first start learning about a healing modality, right? Like energy healing. And all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, this opens up my entire world. I didn't know a world of energy existed. And I didn't know that I can heal with my hands and my breath. And then, you know, your world just opened up, right? But then that particular modality or community that you have been learning from, they're quite regimented, for example, and they're quite restrictive. They're like, okay, but you can't heal if you haven't washed your hands like 50 gazillion times, and you can't heal when the full moon is out, and you can't heal without protection from every single corner of the room, and you can't heal without crystals, and you can't heal, and you can only heal if you do this, and you can only heal if you do that, and if you don't do that, they're gonna, you know, the healing's gonna go bad somehow, and you know, all this kind of things. And it just forms like a lot of limitations in your head, all these restrictions. And it's just like what gave you liberation is starting to be restrictive. It's actually starting to like place a cage around you, is how I'm seeing it. Because it's not my place to say if it's true or not, that you can't heal if these constraints are in place. But it's like, if you don't let that go, when will you learn how to heal if the full moon's not out? If you don't let that go, when will you learn how to heal when there's not enough protection, when the energies you have to call aren't coming? You know, that kind of thing. Like, and I'm already sensing some people getting defensive and getting triggered. But that's what it is, you know. Let light in, you know, be open. If you just surrender everything, your truth, your particular truth can still be the same. It just will come back to you. Do you get what I mean? But anyway, so yeah, there was something else I was gonna say about truth. Oh yeah, okay. So, and I can see that it's a space that, okay, I can see that you guys haven't really been happy. And I think deep down you know it. Like, I think you know deep down that you haven't been happy. But, whatever the space is, it's given you surface level happiness. You know, it's ticked your boxes. It's given you a life better than some of you have ever dreamed of. It's given you a better work-life balance. It's opened your entire world up to a world of magic. And it's almost like some of you have stayed knowing that you deserve better and bigger. Some of you have stayed because you're sort of like, you kind of feel like if you wanted more, you're not being grateful for what you have. You're not being grateful for your abundance. You're not seeing abundance for what it really is, you know, which is what you already have. You're not being appreciative of what life has given you. It's kind of like that, like you're being selfish and you're being overly ambitious. And I'm here to tell you, no, like that is not true, okay? It's not true. You're not being overly ambitious. You're not, yeah. I mean, you can be surrounded by abundance and magical things, and your life could be magic. But if you're not happy inside, if it's not giving you pure joy and happiness and fulfillment, you have the right to go out there and like follow what calls you, follow where your heart goes, you know? Just, yeah, just follow your like inner desires, your biggest dreams, your deepest dreams, like your calling. And just, yeah, and just really, really know confidently that you deserve more than that. Even if people are like, oh wow, like you already have everything, why would you want more? This isn't enough for you. No, you know it's enough, but you're still not fulfilled, and it's okay. It's okay to have your own path, you know? Like, go for it. You deserve the best. You deserve the most amazing things. Don't settle just because you think people might think that you're not being appreciative, or you're making yourself feel guilty that you're not appreciating your life enough. You know that you're appreciating your life, you know? But just go out there and go for it. Yeah, so anyway, back to the reading. You guys are being pulled out of that space, and I'm seeing that you're sort of being forced to confront all your inner demons. And what's coming through is actually you're being asked to confront your inner dragon, which I think is amazing, because it tells me that unfortunately, some of your inner demons have this, maybe it's like this otherworldly, bigger than life quality to it. You know, it's just too challenging. It's overwhelming. It's such a big thing that haunts you. And I'm sorry for that. It just feels like that hurdle, that jump to healing it and saying no to it is going to be big for you. But I know you can do it. You know, I know you can do it. You've got this, and you're being so supported through this period. For some of you, I'm seeing that because it's a dragon, I'm seeing that whatever this is, whatever your demons are, if it's linked to trauma, it could be linked to generational trauma. Because dragons, for me, they have this association to them that makes me think of culture and heritage and tradition and lineage. And so for me, yeah, for some of you, I'm thinking that it might be like something cultural, like traditions, societal norms that are weighing you down, or like generational trauma that's passed down. But anyway, that's just for some of you. But what makes it really special, right, is dragons for me symbolize good fortune, good luck, abundance, you know, prosperity. And so for me, the message that's coming through is that when you're done saying no to your inner demons, when you're done overcoming your inner demons and saying no to them and healing that bit in yourself to the point that you can look at your inner demons and just see them for what they are, and they don't have any power over you, they don't have any authority over you. You can just see them for what they truly are and have compassion for the parts of you or for other people if it's generational and it's been passed down. You can have compassion for the emotions and the experiences that you experienced, you know. to get this inner demon, basically. So this repressed emotions, the trauma, the beliefs, the negative beliefs, everything, the fears. You can have, if you have compassion for that, and you can see your inner demons for what they truly are without having them scare you or influence you or have authority over you, you'll be able to look right at it and see that they're actually your like biggest blessings. They're your golden nuggets, the biggest golden nuggets, right? They're like the biggest like gifts and blessings that you can ever possibly have. It kind of feels like they're like connected to your purpose and your most unique gifts and abilities that only you have and nobody else. And I'm okay. So for example, it's like for me personally, I was always the oversensitive child, and I feel like a lot of psychics are the oversensitive child, and then you get, you know, we get bullied over it and stuff like that. But I hated that part of myself. I hated that part of myself until a few years ago when I realized that actually that's allowed me to become the person I am. It's allowed me to heal people with my mind. It's allowed me to have enough empathy and sensitivity to be able to sense people miles away and be psychic and do this really, really amazing work. You know, it's that kind of thing. So yeah, I think, and it's just, yeah, your inner dragons, I think, are going to be so amazing because they're mythical. I have this impression that for some of you, it's linked to your psychic gifts and abilities, but they don't have to be. They can just be these really unique gifts and abilities that are just yours and unique to you. But yeah, so it's like I think once you realize that they're actually your inner dragons, you're really, really going to, like, your life is going to add on a different dimension. You're really going to be able to pull in that abundance and all these new opportunities, and your life is just going to take on a whole new magical meaning to it, and it's just going to be amazing. I think your gifts and abilities are really, really going to develop exponentially once you realize that they're your like golden nuggets, basically. And I'm really, really seeing that it's really going to bring your life into technicolor vision, like really beyond your wildest dreams. I'm really seeing like things that I would have never, it's like well beyond our imagination. It's like super cool and super amazing. And I think you're going to really realize what it means to live authentically, because it's like a life that other people can't perceive, but it just feels true to you, and it feels like you're in flow and feels like you're home, and you're like, this is where I'm supposed to be. You know, it's so amazing. I'm really seeing it. It's so amazing. So do not rush that rebirth. You're gonna need the extra rest, trust me. Yeah. Okay, so so just the last message that I need to communicate is, if you guys are struggling through this period, because I know you guys aren't at the rebirth yet. If you guys are struggling through the period of transformation or the anger and stuff like that, there's a call to connect to your inner source of balance, right? And I'm seeing that this period will teach you about balance indirectly. Like, it's not, of course, it's not the core of your transformation, but I'm seeing that by the end of this period, you guys would have learned to really balance, to really be able to balance. And it's not balance like having a balanced lifestyle, even though I think that's really important. It's more balancing between living in other people's truths and living from a place of your own truth. Balancing believing other people when they say, you know, quote sources and stuff, and believing your own source of inner truth. Balancing diving deep into spiritual inner shadow work, you know, the heavy stuff, hermit mode, and swimming up to where it's shallow and you get to play with the waters, play with other people, and be part of a community, and sing and dance and be expressive, and to really feel the skin on your, sorry, to really feel the air on your skin, enjoy life, that kind of thing. So I'm seeing that by the end of this period, you guys would have really mastered that balance. But what I'm hearing is, if you guys are going through, like, if you guys are struggling through this period of transformation or through this period of anger, whatever it is, what I'm hearing is you guys are being called to tap into your inner source of balance, whatever that means for you. I'm seeing that for some of you, it could mean like freeing yourself, like liberating yourself inside and putting yourself in a safe space, cocooning yourself in a safe space, kind of something like that. But for some of you, it could be like applying energetic boundaries. And it's not what you think, because I'm already like, you know, thinking things. It's not what you think. It's not about like cutting out people or limiting your interactions with people who are heavy or something like that, or like not, yeah. I just kind of think that some of us blame other people too much, you know, like blame other people's energies too much, me included. I do that all the time, honestly. But it's more like applying energetic boundaries to yourself. It's more like being able to realize, like, for example, you're going through this really dense, very heavy period of change, and you know you have to go through it, you know you have to endure it, and a part of you is like dying, but a part of you is like, I have to do this because this is going to help me grow so much. I'm going to grow like exponentially inside of this period. And so the better I do, the more growth that I see on the other side. It's kind of like that. But what I'm seeing, that it's not necessary to immerse yourself in that energy all the time. It doesn't do you any good, honestly. I think it's unhealthy. I think it's okay for you to be like, okay, I know that I am going through this period of anger, this period of transformation. It's something that I have to work through, or something I have to see, something I have to learn, whatever it is. I give myself permission to relax today. I give myself permission to be happy and to disconnect to all my stresses, all my worries, and just connect with life. Go out in the garden, feel like every single plant, you know, feel the flowers, smell the flowers, feel the air on your skin, and just like tread lightly on the grass, you know, that kind of thing. And just disconnect. Just be like, I give myself permission to be happy now, like today, and it's okay. It doesn't mean that you're running away. Doesn't mean that you are ignoring your problems or turning a blind eye to your responsibilities or whatever. It doesn't mean that. So don't guilt yourself over it, and don't criticize yourself over it. It's healthy. It's okay for you to take a break and be like, I give myself permission to be happy today. Okay? But it is easier said than done. So it does take practice, but if you have that ability, if you can do that, I think there's a message coming through for you to really be mindful of like trying too hard to immerse yourself in dense energies. But anyway, yeah, I think that's all the messages I have for you today. And I hope, yeah, good luck. Good luck with your transformation. I hope you guys hang in there. I know you guys will be okay anyway. But yeah, I'll see you guys in my next reading. Bye, guys. Just in case I forget to tell you guys about the anger, I'm seeing that some of you guys are experiencing this period of anger. It feels like it's part of your transformation, but sort of adjacent to it somehow. It doesn't quite feel like it's at the core of your transformation. But so what I'm seeing is it's not an energy that has been with your reading for a while. It's relatively new to your reading, but the anger itself is old. It's old anger. I'm seeing that it's not an anger that I can trace back to anything in particular in your childhood, in your life, in generational trauma and stuff like that, even though I can see that for some of you, you've actually acquired it, like it's been passed down generations to you. But what I'm seeing is it's actually an anger that's been experienced by previous versions of you. Is how I'm seeing it. So it's kind of like, it's not the anger in itself, because I can't really trace it back to anything in particular. It's more the pattern of anger that is being experienced right now. And it's being like experienced in order for you to release it and for it to like heal in that way. I'm seeing that it's not anything that you really need active healing on, which is why I feel like some of you guys are stuck in this anger. You're kind of like, I've healed this before. I've healed anger before, and I've done so much inner work, and this anger is still persisting. Why is it persisting? It's immovable because it's just a pattern. It's just a pattern of anger, and it's a pattern of anger that, like I said, you guys have experienced in old, like previous versions of yourself. And it's a pattern of anger, like if it's been passed down across generations, it's a pattern of anger that they've also experienced. And that's just been brought down, basically. And it's interesting because I can see that it's not so much collective anger, but it's anger that's been experienced by the collective. How do I say this? It's not anger that's shared by the collective, because it's not the same anger that's being experienced by the collective, but it's almost like the collective or a collective is experiencing patterns of anger, if that makes sense. And it's not, I don't want to say it's necessarily the same pattern of anger, but what I'm seeing is like it's a collective experience that it's people within the collective are just experiencing this immovable, persisting pattern of anger that's just lingering. And so if you're going through that, what's coming to me is, of course, don't engage in the narrative. If you engage in the narrative and you keep clinging on to that anger, it's gonna loop and you're gonna be in it for a while. What's coming to me is the best thing for you to do is, if you are in one of those periods of anger, to really disconnect, pull yourself in, and just be safe inside, and then look out and see the surrounding energies for what they really are, and see the anger for what it really is. Because if it is your anger right now, if you feel the anger without attaching to the narratives, it should fly away. It should just diffuse, it should just leave, because you've already experienced it, you've already felt it. But because it's persisting, it's the pattern, right? It's not to do with you, basically. So just pull yourself back in, right? Pull yourself back in, and then look at the energies for what they are, as if they're just moving pictures around you, and they're just surrounding you, but they have no control over you. If you're able to do that, I'm seeing that you're going to be able to see that pattern and that anger in a different light, and it's going to give you clarity. And then you're going to be able to see things from a different perspective, and I think it's going to help you a lot. But anyway, that was a side note. I couldn't remember if I talked about the anger or not. But anyway, I'm gonna thank you again. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you guys in my next reading. Bye, guys.